Hey, what's going on, everybody? UltimatDjz here with another Teaching Trek video. What's going on? And welcome in to the YouTube channel. This is Talking Trek, and where we put all kinds of great stuff all the time for you to come and learn about, all right? So when we post videos like these, you want to know about them, right? So click on the subscribe button, click on the little bell, make sure and give us a thumbs up because we're going to get super nerdy tonight as we have stumbled on potentially something that may change a certain area of space, a certain activity that your alliance is probably doing every single day. We're going to talk all about it. So be sure to leave your comments with your questions below, or potentially, yes, the possibility does exist that I'm completely wrong about everything. I'm completely wrong about everything. So at the very least, we're going to start a conversation about it, all right? So subscribe, hit that bell, and you'll know about all this stuff. If I have to issue another video where I say I was wrong about everything, then you're going to want to see that too. Ladies and gentlemen, let's switch on over into our game. Welcome in to the show. So listen, a couple of days ago during a podcast, we were discussing uses for the brand new officer, Commander Riker. We were talking about how he could be used in Armadas. We talked about how he could be used in hostile grinding. And it was suggested at that particular stage that perhaps Commander Riker could be good in exchange armadas, all right, over here in Outlaw Exchange Space. Well, we decided to run a couple of tests and tinker with it a little bit, and it was originally the thought of myself, plus a couple of other guys, that perhaps Riker wasn't going to work out so well here, because what we have long surmised is that officers like Riker are going to work off of base statistics. All right. And so if we take a quick peek here at Ripper's project, shout out STFC.space. We take a look. Here is the Stella. OK, here's the Stella. And if we take a look and we scroll down, and most people probably have had the opportunity to maybe get this thing up to tier 9, okay? So we're going to take a quick peek at the actual statistics here. All right, so I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to take a look. So we can see DPR at about 23,000. And more specifically, what I'm wanting to see here are these weapons, okay? Because the base values are what most research affects, what officers affect, and so forth and so on. So we can see min-max here at about 6K, 9K, min-max 5.5 to 8.5, and same thing, of course, on both of the Mark 9 phasers, okay? And then you got, those are energy, and you got the kinetic weapon over here. So that leaves us with roughly 23,000 and you know, possibly averaging that out depending on where you fall in the min-max range for each of these weapons. Now, if Commander Riker were coming in here, we would expect that 100% of this amount is going to get added each round. If we take a quick peek just to refresh your memories at Commander Riker, we're going to scroll all the way down here because he's near the bottom of my list, and we're going to say, where's you at? Where's you at, buddy? There you are. There's Commander Riker. We're going to take a look at this captain's maneuver. Running him in the captain's chair is going to increase weapon damage by 100% every round. So what we would expect to see is we would expect to see roughly 20,000, 25,000, depending on the min-max that you hit, boosted to every single round. Now, that's not bad in and of itself, but as we have long discussed, the power of Stella comes in her research, okay? Specifically here in the Outlaw tree, you've got researches, for example, like Anarchist Weaponry, bonus piercing stats, okay, against Eclipse hostiles and Armadas. 700%. We take a look over here at Stella Weaponry, all right? And actually, I want to come back to this one in a second. Stella Hall, these things adding flat values, okay? Now, these two are actually really important. I'm going to come back to them, but we've got others, right? Eclipse Defenses, bonus mitigation, 700%. More percentage and more actual flat stats for piercing and mitigation. These are important because some of these are flat, okay? Some of these are flat. Now, this is where I'm going to actually probably get a little bit of pushback from players like Hugo, shout out, all right, who is like my officer consultant, all right? As a matter of fact, he came to me a couple of days ago after that last podcast and said, listen, man, I don't think Riker is going to do it. I don't think Riker is going to do it in exchange space because he's affecting the base value. It's going to take too many rounds to get powerful enough to say, for example, outperform con. Well, I took that and I figured that was probably the case, right? However, we got to thinking tonight when we were doing some of these Armadas, and let me show you a couple of battle logs here real quick. I'll show you just a couple of battle logs where we started tinkering with this. Let's start right here. So Wick actually brought this idea up. Shout out, buddy. He brought this idea up and said, hey, listen, you know, we're hitting some of these exchange armadas, and we're wanting to now focus on loot. We're trying to focus on just improving the efficiency of killing these. So he tinkered with Geordie. Now, this particular setup, that's a no-go, okay? I mean, Geordie is going to get you the extra rewards. That's good. But, well, really, truthfully, he still had the survivability aspect here. So this wasn't bad if you're, in particular, accruing for rewards, all right? But not everybody can do that. You're giving up some significant attack to do that. So you're going to have some other people running some con, right? We have to get some con in there. We're going to have to get the damage, right? Big country, going to have to get the damage going. And then you got Max over here who ran with a 5-6 combo. Also, a very strong crew in exchange, but not quite as good because her mitigation is a little bit shadowed by the fact that Stella herself has a ton of research around mitigation. So this crew was okay. We won. It's fine. Everybody got some loot. Everybody got to go home. But then we started tinkering, all right? And we come over here to this particular crew where we started actually trying to decide whether or not Riker was going to be a player here, okay? Now, this is an exchange 40 vault. This is a 40 rare. You can see here Wick did the same thing. He brought Riker. He substituted this out. Brought Riker, and we did Kirk and Spock because obviously survivability does remain key. Can Riker outperform Khan? The universal crew here is Kirk, Spock, Khan. So, at least in exchange. Again, 5-6 con, not doing as well because you already have beast mode mitigation. So can Riker outperform Khan here? That was the test. Big Country wanted to find out as well. I stuck with the traditional Kirk, Spock, Khan, as did Lord Ice. Now, taking a look inside this battle log, 18 rounds. We can see Wick and Big absolutely working there with the Riker. So let's start here. Now, keep in mind, these levels, these players are different level than I am. Wick's a 49, I'm a 41, Big is a 50, okay? So our Stellas are automatically going to start out different, okay? Not to mention, some of the 42-plus level players are going to have some extra research related to Armadas that are going to improve these numbers. So it's important for us to compare apples and apples. If we're going to look at Wick, we'll look at Wick. If we're going to look at Big, we'll look at Big. Or if we're going to look at me, all right? For example, we take a look here in round one. All right, in round one, Big just getting kind of lucky. Look here, 4 criticals all in a row. Pretty good sized shots right here in the very, very beginning. But we take a look at Big's normal damage at about 290, okay, 294, 297. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write this down. Big Country, round one. I don't know, you guys can't really see that very well. Sorry about that. Can I zoom that in? Not really. So round one. I'm just going to write this down. About 295K average, okay? Boom. There it is. All right, now let's go over here and let's see if we can find Wick. Where was Wick? Did he already throw his damage? He certainly did. Here he was at the top. Showing about 197, 220, so definitely, and at 177, definitely very opposite ends of the damage spectrum here with these couple of shots, and he threw 1 critical. So let's say he's averaging roughly 190 to 200,000. Let's take a look at my Stella down here. Same thing. I got 1 critical in, but 200 here, 220, 195, 200, 200, 220. So I'm going to call my average starting out at about 200K, okay? DJ's about 200K starting out. Now, here's what I want to notice, okay? My damage is going to stay the same throughout. If we come and we use this great new quality of life improvement, so even the individual rounds are long, use this quality of life improvement and scroll through some rounds. Let's just go down to roughly round... Whoa, what happened? Button not lining quite up with my screen here, but let's go down to about round 10. All right, what we should see in round 10, ideally, is that my base damage is going to stay the same. Now, I'm running con, so probably by this point, most of my shots should be all critical, okay? Looks like I did get one non-crit there. But we can see it's still that 200, about what we expected, okay? That was the average. We did get some criticals here. And by the way, critical damage bonus. Let's see. I'll have to go to a different screen to look at that. But we can see the crit, probably about 200, 250% total, okay? Ish, about, or 150%, I guess, right? Because it's giving me a bonus of 250. So, yeah, roughly about 150% or 125%-ish ballpark to my critical damage bonus. But the base shot's still at 200K. It's not changing because nothing is increasing my damage per round. It's not happening with Stella. Look here, 210, 207. We're in round 11. Now, let's scroll back here just a little bit and take a look at Big Country. Big Country now is running at about 316, 310, 300. He was at only about 295 to begin with. Okay, 295 to begin with. So we do see some increases here. We're in round 10, and we're seeing Big throw up some increases now of roughly, what, 25,000, 30,000 per shot. That doesn't sound spectacular, right? But we take a look, for some reason, okay, we take a look at this particular gun. All right. Now, Hugo, this is where I'm going to shout you out, buddy, because I don't understand this one. All right. Now, of course, Big Country is a level 50. He's got prime armadas. He's got some of the advanced armada research in the outlaw tree. If we come back here, as a matter of fact, he told me the other day he is almost done. He is 10 days away at the time we taped this video, 10 days away from maxing out his augment or outlaw reputation at 30 million and getting all of this stuff done. So if you take a look over here, you've got some pretty significant Armada upgrades here, okay? 100%, of course, that's to piercing. Do we have anything for critical damage? I don't believe so. This is all piercing and mitigation, all right? Let's come over here to targeting. This is bonus crit chance, which is good. And by the way, if that's maxed out, you're increasing that by 15%. Down here, this is the big one, all right? Bonus crit damage up to 65% when this thing is maxed out. So you take that and you pile that on top of the Stella, which already has a decent critical damage bonus. Can I not look at stats? Oh my goodness. Gonna have to repair this ship, and then we'll take a look at some stats, okay? We'll wait for the spinny circles and repair this ship. Now, once we do that, we're gonna see what our critical damage bonus looks like on the Stella. For me, it's going to be different than it is for you, okay? This is going to be different for all players based on research. But we come over here, critical damage bonus at 185. By the way, I do not have prime armadas. I do not have some of that combat research that is post 42. Big's number is probably going to be significantly higher than this, all right? Which is why, probably, Hugo, probably why he's throwing such a massive critical shot. Now, here's the thing. Is that critical shot getting as big as it is because of Riker? That's the key question. Is Riker actually contributing? The original thought was, golly, it must be, right? It has to be. So let's go a little bit further in this battle log and take a look at something a little bit deeper. You can see we went 18 rounds. Let's take a look at round 17. Wick is still alive. I'm still alive. Big is still alive. Now, Wick started this battle out about the same, about 260, 270. We come down to me. I should be in all criticals, and it looks like I roughly am. All right, all criticals, but again, my damage staying flat. Every single round staying the same. You remember the critical in round 10, about 450. If you divide this out, then I'm about 200,000 base. You can see Lord Ice, same thing. He's hitting around the same level I am. Let's take a look at Big Country. Big Country. All right, his base shots now up to about 437,000 after 18 rounds, 450. But take a look at some of these criticals. Now, we've talked about critical before as it relates to hull breach, but it's important to note that critical and hull breach, all of these types of calculations and formulas, are done after research. Critical damage, hull breach, these are amazing, amazing abilities that have really come into their own over the last year in the game. A lot of different researches, even some of the new projectiles increasing critical damage bonus. And you can see how significant this is. As a matter of fact, one critical shot from him basically equaling 3 normal shots from me, even with the stacking con. So, is this particular setup, is this officer good enough to replace con? The argument is, well, you take a look. Now, again, can't compare apples to oranges because Big had higher base damage than me to begin with, almost 100,000 difference. So I am staying at 200. He's at 295, but Riker has grown him up to the point where Big's non-critical shots are now equal to my criticals and even Lord Ice. However, it took 18 rounds to get there. But on the other hand, too, he's got decent critical percentages here. That is largely not, obviously, due to the crew that we're using, not due to Riker, but due to his level and his research. He's probably getting 40 to 50% crits, and those crits are significant at 1.3. Coming out of a Stella, right? It's absolutely crazy, 1.4. Now, we wanted to also make sure, since Wick ran this one, we wanted to make sure that it wasn't just the ACC that was impacting this. So we decided to come in here and we ran another, okay? We ran another with Wick, and this time, I believe, yep, we did the same thing. We took a look at Riker as captain. This time, we were short one player. We only ran with 4. It actually lost, all right? This was a 40 epic, and we didn't fare so well, but we were down a player. We ran a 40 epic with only 4 players. Taking a look at the battle log, though, 21 rounds. Of course, it was a stronger Armada. And we come down here, and let's just take a look and see where we're at. Let's check round 10 and just see where Big is in relation to damage as compared to mine, which should be mostly criticals. Big, there's a critical at 1 million, not quite as full as it was in round 18 before, but again, it's earlier. Riker hasn't had enough time to get to that point. He's building, all right, but his normal shot about 368, but golly, my critical only had, again, the same as it was before, 400, 396, 412, 422, and again, this is using a very high Armada control center. So, if we take a look at the next battle log, which is actually one that I ran. Okay, I ran this with my level 39 ACC. This is a 40 level rare, and you can see we ran with the same 4 guys. But this time, we decided to jump on the bandwagon. I decided to try Riker as well. And again, you're giving up con, and of course, you don't have any 5 of 10 or any other type of loot bonus other than the Stella. So let's see how now I did with my ACC. All right, again. Not a whole lot of difference there. Okay, I'm running pretty steady. 200, 230 at the top end there. 195, 215, 214. All right, so mine is staying pretty flat. Let's take a look at Big Country. Very, very close to where he was. 280, 270. So the ACC making a little bit of difference here. But you can see, even without con, Big is coming in here and throwing some decent critical shots. Almost 1 million straight out of the gate without Riker having any time to build. So let's come on down here to our next round where we can start clicking arrows, and we're going to go fast forward to round 10 out of 19, and we're going to see what it looks like there. We already saw a few moments ago that mine has been staying pretty much at 200 as far as the base. My criticals improving, but the base value staying about 200. Let's see where we're at this time with Riker as captain. I'm now up to, well, that's a very weak shot, but it looks like I'm up to about 290, 260. This is the increases from Riker, even 250, better than the 200 that I was. I got a critical now of 566. Big's critical at 1 million. All right, doubling me up. That's the power of research, okay? Research and that big level 49 something or other over there, okay? All the Armada research and everything that he's got. So his base values, though, staying very, very similarly close to where they were when he started. The criticals definitely picking up. Let's move forward into, say, about round 15. And here's where it starts to become a little bit interesting. Is Riker a suitable replacement for Khan. The argument is, golly, he really could be. He really could be, because the damage is continuing to build. And remember, with Kirk, Spock, Khan, you're not getting any cumulative damage build. All right. But you still have the survivability with Kirk, Spock. And even with the damage build from Riker on every single shot, when you are lucky enough to land some of these criticals, you're literally doing the damage of 4 other shots. So, percentage-wise, can you get enough natural critical shots to overcome the deficit of Khan on every single shot? Me, I don't know. I don't know that I got the research to do that, okay? But some of you will. You take a look here. I'm still not even throwing... I'm not throwing crits because I don't have Khan. So I've increased even my damage almost 50% by now. 50% net by now. But my critical at about 640, which is higher than it was in any other battle. Remember, my criticals were between 4 and 450. So we are deep into the Armada, round 17. If we go back to where we were, round, say, 10 or 12, then we can try to determine whether or not Khan... or whether or not Riker has enough time to match Khan. I would almost argue that, golly, they seem to be somewhat, really daggone close. All right? If I was running Khan here, I would have criticals. They would be running at about 400,000. But when I do get a critical, because Riker is improving my base values, it's overcoming and doing more. I think the best way to actually figure this out, super math nerdy style, would be Scopely to allow me to export this battle log and calculate the total amount of damage and the number of crits that I have thrown. In lieu of doing that, what I can tell you here is the feeling of Riker as captain in these Armadas. The feeling is actually pretty good. I would say probably just as good as Khan. If he was weaker than Khan, it ain't by much. All right. The damage boost that I'm getting with every single shot is enough to kind of overcome the loss of criticals, because when I am getting criticals, it's still much larger than a critical with Khan, but I'm not getting as many criticals. This is probably one of those 6 of one, half dozen of another. So why am I wasting your time with this video to tell you that Riker is just as good as something you're already using? Because again, folks, showing you that he actually has this use can build value in him as a secondary Armada officer. Folks, there is an Apex Armada event coming up, and if history holds true, this is going to include a solo leaderboard for players to be able to obtain the Stella skin, Opus Grand. That's going to happen, and being able to run more than one Armada at a time would be fantastic news for somebody. So, what are you going to run? What are your crews? I would imagine that a Kirk, Spock, Khan is going to be important to you. But what can be almost as good as a Kirk, Spock, Khan in a secondary, if you're fortunate enough? How about a Riker and, let's see, let's go Riker, Kirk, Spock. And then on the next crew, we could look at a 5-6 Theseus, a 5-6, a 5-6 triangle, maybe, probably not. Probably a 5-6 Theseus would look really, really good here. How about a Beverly as captain? Beverly as captain could be good. There's your shield regen in only one officer slot. So let's take a look. Oh, wrong button. If you're fortunate enough to have Beverly, or if you acquired her via the in-app purchases last month, then you've got Beverly Crusher here. What is she doing as a captain's maneuver? Against Armadas, restoring shield health every round equal to 200% of health. So stack your health up, run her as captain, and now you're getting shield regen just like you would be with Kirk and Spock. She has to be in the captain's chair, though, and so does Riker. So who are we going to put with Beverly? All right, you're going to have to look there. Perhaps maybe a Data, all right, or perhaps a Picard to improve your critical chance. Some tinkering going to be needed here, but what was interesting to find tonight was indeed Riker actually being, golly, equal with Khan, which is absolutely amazing. Now, one other thing that I wanted to show you, this was why we had the theory to do this test, all right? If you take a look in your outlaw tree, as a matter of fact, let me back up. If you take a look in your combat tree early on, there's this research, right? And we've talked about these researches in the past. The researches that show percentages, all right, like this one, these are all additive. They're all combined together. They add together. And what is wrong with my cat? Woohoo! That was weird. Cat just started to stare into your soul for a minute. When they are percentages, they're all added up and they affect the base value. But there's a couple of researches in here that are flat. All right. And the theory has always been that these indeed change the base value, or at the very least, they come early. They come first in the equation for adding up the research. Why do we suspect that? Because of, let me find it. There's a research that reared its ugly head when the sarcophagus came out, and it was this one. Do you guys remember this research? When sarcophagus came out, it wasn't supposed to have any shields. Indeed, it did, though. A super, super tiny, tiny little amount of shield. Where did that shield come from if the ship itself was not designed with any shields? Right here. This value added to the base value and then allowed all your other research to amplify that amount to the point where we saw sarcophagi with roughly 25,000 shield. All right. It actually became a problem. Scopely then issued a correction on the sarcophagus and gave it a mitigation factor with its shield because it did, in fact, have a little bit of shield, and it came from here. So if flat research values are indeed affecting the base, then researches like Stellar Weaponry, where are we at? Stellar Weaponry, where are you? This one could be nasty, right? If we're adding 36,000 or 40,000 or whatever this is, 44,000 to base, then we would see Riker improving this by 40,000 per round. But as you can see, that did indeed not happen. This particular research was added to the base value later on, and research was not impacted, or Riker was not able to take advantage of this addition. Same thing with Stella Hull. Of course, Riker doesn't do anything with Hull. But there was a lot of flat damages here. How about this one? Man, could you imagine? Could you imagine, Hugo, if Riker was actually affecting the values, the base values, but these flat bonuses were impacting the base value like it did for the sarcophagus shields, like it does for the Botany Bay protected cargo research, yet these appeared to come later. This was the theory for our testing, and we can in fact debunk it now, ladies and gentlemen, and tell you that these figures may in fact affect the base value, but Riker's grabbing it first. Very indicative of the type of math and the type of formula that the North Star uses for its healthy mining bonus. Yes, lots of things in the game are affecting the health statistics of the officers when you put them on that ship. However, the North Star still goes back and uses the actual base officer value. So that being said, is Stellar Research helping Riker? Nope. But is Riker good enough to stand on his own in place of Khan? Probably. You guys, leave your comments in the section below. Let me know what you find with your testing. Is Riker becoming an end-all, be-all in this game? He certainly is ridiculously well-rounded in Armadas, in hostile grinding, and just overall amazingness, all right? How is the TNG crew stacking up for you? Be sure to let us know in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button, smash that thumbs up if you like my nerdy math tonight. Hope you enjoyed the battle logs, and hope we have given you yet another reason to try to maybe be a little bit more interested in this officer when inevitably an event store rolls around where you can pick up Picard and Riker and Beverly and Data and the rest of the TNG crew. When's it coming? No idea, but we want you to have the information to be prepared. My name is UltimatDjz. I'm your friendly neighborhood cat person saying meow for now. Thank you for watching here on Talking Trek YouTube channel. Teaching Trek. That's what we're calling it. Why is the cat freaking... Man, the cat is freaking out tonight. My name's UltimatDjz. Love you, man, and see you later. Bye-bye.